Big news. We're talking big news just dropped. Compass is acquiring Anywhere Real Estate. This is being called the biggest real estate merger in U.S. history. But here's the real headline for agents. All right, there are 5 game-changing reasons why agents currently with Compass, Coldwell Banker, Century 21, Corcoran, and all the affiliated brands should be seriously considering LPT Realty right now more than ever. Okay, so if you're unsure where your loyalty lies or you're feeling nervous about what this merger means for you and your business, stay with me, okay? I'm gonna break this whole thing down, break down what's happening and what it means for you and why LPT is uniquely positioned to be your next home. So let's get into it. But real quick, do me a favor. If you're finding value in content like this, take a second, hit that button, drop a comment, and subscribe to the channel. And if you know someone at Compass, Coldwell Banker, or any of the Anywhere brands, share this video with them, please. They need to hear this, okay? Also, if you're exploring LPT Realty and want me in your corner, you can choose me as your sponsor or even as your co-sponsor if somebody else maybe already introduced you to the idea of LPT. All right, I'm happy to help you build and scale either way. All right, so here's what happened. Jumping into this whole merger and these headlines, okay? On September 22nd here in 2025, Compass and Anywhere Real Estate signed a definitive agreement to merge in all stock transaction, all right? So here's what this means. This deal gives the combined company an enterprise value of around $10 billion. That includes debt. All right. Once the deal closes, Compass shareholders will own about 78% of the new entity, and Anywhere shareholders will own about 22%. Okay. So the deal, here's the thing, the deal is expected to finalize in the second half of 2026. Okay. So assuming it all goes through and gets all the approvals. So here's where I think it gets interesting, all right? Together, they'll actually represent around 340,000 real estate professionals across more than 120 countries and territories. All right, so Anywhere's portfolio includes some of the most well-known, I guess more established older brands, Coldwell Banker, Century 21, Sotheby's, right, Better Homes and Gardens, ERA, and Corcoran. All right, now Compass has said that they actually want to preserve the brand identities of all those companies, which likely means, if that's true, that you'll see combinations like Coldwell Banker powered by Compass or some similar hybrid branding. Already there, I see some challenges for agents because it's like, okay, I'm this brand at this brand powered by this brand. That stuff can get pretty darn confusing, let alone if you're on a team. So hey, I'm this agent on this person's team inside this brand powered by this brand. I don't know. It seems a little confusing, but we'll see how that goes, right? They're smart. Who knows? All right. But that's not it. It's not, the real story isn't just about branding. Okay. The merged company is actually aiming to capture over 225 million in annual operating cost synergies. Okay. That means things like cost cutting, streamlining, and centralizing operations, which might sound good. And it does sound good for shareholders, but for agents, what that means is hey, the person running my office right now may not be here down the road. I don't know what that really means, right? Hey, we already have a marketing department in this brand. Now we have a marketing department in this brand as well. Well, let's just create synergies and cost savings, and maybe some of your favorite people go away. Who knows, right? I'm not making any threats or anything like that, just genuinely speculating. All right. Now, here's the other thing. Think about this too. Anywhere also brings in revenue from title, escrow, relocation, franchise businesses. All right. So Compass is now more diversified, not just commissions. All right. So now here's where it gets important for agents. Pay attention to this. This merger changes the power structure in real estate. It really does. And it affects how homes are marketed. Okay. How the data is controlled and where agents actually fit in the value chain. And we have to talk about that. We can't just skip over this stuff. Many people aren't talking about it. But the first thing we have to talk about is private listings. With more power and internal networks, the combined company can lean heavily into private or exclusive listings, meaning homes that get shown first or only to agents inside their own system. And this could be great for them, but what about for you? It might mean less exposure. It might mean less competition. It might mean less leverage for your clients. Okay, so think about it this way. If I know I'm going up against an agent in that brand and they start doing that stuff, I can go, hey, listen, if you list with that person, Now, maybe I wouldn't say it exactly this way, but right, the implication is here. If you list with somebody under one of those brands, you're going to have limited exposure to the market. Now, they're going to try to sell you on how this is great, but let's just be real. Eyeballs on your house is what gets your home sold. Competition is what drives the price up, or is what at least gets you the fair market price that you want. And so if you're limiting who can see that property, right, because you want to create some exclusivity, do you think that works for you as a seller or works against you as a seller, that you're limiting the amount of people that are exposed to your property? Right? Like, see how easy that was? And I'm just like some random YouTuber dude. All right. Imagine the top agent in your area. Okay. Second, this is just the beginning wave of a consolidation. All right. Smaller brokerages and independents are going to feel the heat. When a $10 billion brokerage is operating across every major market, it puts serious pressure on the average everybody else to merge, consolidate, or get out. As a matter of fact, there's two really big, prolific teams ran by two amazing team leaders in my market here in San Diego that actually just merged as well. And, my team ended up merging with Space. There's a lot of this stuff going on. And so, don't think that that's going to be different anytime soon. Now, let's talk about culture and bureaucracy. Because splits are splits, and marketing packets are marketing packets, and all this different stuff, right? But a lot of people love their brokerage because, hey, this is where I'm at, this is where I've spent a lot of my time, this is where the people that I know, like, and trust are, this is the culture that I want to be part of. I understand how to navigate through and get what I need to get done. I know who to talk to, where to go for questions, where to get answers, and how I will be received. That changes when a company buys you. Right? And it doesn't mean it's all bad, but you do know that it changes. All right. When you're part of a massive organization, you often lose autonomy. You may have to follow a more rigid branding guideline, adopt specific marketing tools, and give up local control. You become a number in a sense, right? Or at least that's the fear, or that's the experience a lot of people have in other mergers. I'm not making any claims about this one, but here's the thing. When that happens, your individuality gets absorbed into the machine. Now, fourth, here's the thing that I think about, right, is there's regulatory pressure. With that much scale and that much power, antitrust concerns will come up. 100%. Look at Zillow, right? Look at some of these big companies, even outside the real estate world. We're looking at Google and all these other places. You see that stuff happening because they have a bigger target on the back. The bigger you are, the bigger target on your back you have, especially if you're doing stuff like, hey, I'm going to limit the amount of people that have access to listings. Those types of things play out. And so we've seen companies that have to shutter or do wonky stuff because, hey, their emergency legal funds are being tapped way more than they thought. So just things like that. Regulators, they may put guardrails in place that affect how these companies can operate in certain markets. And finally, most mergers don't deliver on their promises. And again, this is not me poking holes in this, hey, they specifically are not good at what they do. Smarter than me, right? The people that probably structured this deal. And so the thing is, largely, promises go unmet. Right? And these kind of things. And so technology integrations fail, culture clashes, right? Support gets restructured, and the agents, well, they're the ones doing all the work and are often left wondering what happened to the things they were promised, or at least what happened to the things I was used to. All right. So real quickly, now that we've kind of talked about that, let's pivot. All of this really sets the stage for one thing, a huge opportunity for LPT Realty and the agents that choose to explore it right now in this critical time. Because while big brokerages get bigger and slower and more corporate, LPT is staying lean, nimble, and agent first. All right. Let me give you 5 reasons why this is the moment for agents to strongly consider LPT. Again, if you're watching this and you're at Coldwell Banker, you're at one of these Sotheby's brands, whatever it is, moving to LPT or its luxury partner and luxury brand, Aperture, that's an exclusive brand just for luxury people, right? And just so you know, luxury agents, you got to take a look at Aperture. I've got videos on my YouTube channel where you can go ahead and learn more about Aperture and why you might want to strongly consider it. All right, but either way, what I'm going to show you right now is about both of these because they're led by the same organization, right? They're part of the same holding company, have the same core mission. All right, so let's jump into reason number 1. First, speed and adaptability. All right, LPT doesn't have to move through layers of corporate red tape to make changes or support the agents. We can actually pivot very quickly, okay? Launch new programs fast and tailor support for each market. That's important. All right, as a bigger company grows and grows and grows, it gets more lethargic, it gets less agile as you get so many shareholders, right? And you get so many brands. I mean, even if a company that's a single brand got as big as them, they would not have as much complexity, layers of nuance, right? It creates a lot of challenges. Whereas like LPT, it's really quick to adapt. They realize, hey, in this part of the country, we're not getting checks deposited fast enough. Okay, let's get Chase Bank on the phone and figure out how we can use their Chase Bank app, get deposits done quicker. Like these are things that are actually happening. Let's build a ticketing system that answers, 20, 30,000 tickets every single month and closes those tickets with an average response time of 10 minutes. Guys, that's not happening at these old brokerages to begin with, let alone now that they're being taken over by something else. All right. Now, we're not trying to own every tool, every platform, or every system. All right. So, like, really, number 2 is agent first culture. We're not trying to own everything and dominate everything. We're not trying to own every system. We empower agents. We don't turn you into a cog in the system. Your voice actually matters. Your brand, your local brand matters. We want you to focus on your business, not focus on all the chaos that's happening inside your organization and what's my brand going to be tomorrow. That's insanity. Okay. Now, reason number 3, transparent economics. This is one that someone brought up to me. Somebody that moved over to LPT from one of these brands was like, I just don't understand what's going on at any given time. And, I don't like the way things are shaking out. And at LPT, you don't need a CPA to understand your commission split. All right, you're not getting surprise fees for like tech or marketing or admin or franchise fees or royalties or whatever it is that they all have these different structures, right? They're not nickel and diming. The financial model is clear, it's consistent, and it's way more than fair. All right, reason number 4, personal brand protection. You built your name, your face, your recognition. You shouldn't have to surrender that to some national campaign. All right, LPT supports your brand. It doesn't bury it. All right, they always say this: oh, we are the brand, we are the pipes underneath your brand, we are the period at the end of your sentence. Right, that's the focus that they do, and they don't just say that, they actually deliver it. Whereas everybody else, it's like, hey, you got to take on all these other things, right? Your brand is too important to just let other people dictate how that goes. All right, we want to do what's compliant for the state, but LPT gets out of my way the rest of the time. All right. Reason number 5, kind of coming in for a landing here: opportunity and timing. As agents inside these merging brokerages start questioning where they actually belong, do they actually fit there, LPT becomes an obvious, probably the most obvious alternative. We're really well positioned to welcome those agents. And if you're already here, you have recruiting leverage. And here's the other thing too. Think about this. Why did they do all this? For the shareholders. And I get it. Shareholders, they are who you owe responsibility to when you go public. I totally get that, right? Now here's the thing. LPT, who owns all the stock, right? Well, when it goes IPO, that's an important thing, is that agents are going to have a ton of stock. I'm earning units of stock right now pre-IPO. And this is not me giving you any kind of advice whatsoever about investing, but you should look at what it looks like to move over and have a conversation with me. At the end of this, I'll tell you exactly how to do that, where you could book one-on-one time with me. But you want to spend some time figuring out, like, what would it actually look like to be at the ground floor of the fastest growing brokerage before it IPOs. That's pretty crazy. Talk about people putting shareholders in right places, right? All right, so here's the thing. Let's get specific. If you're with Compass, okay, you're an agent with Coldwell Bank, you're an agent with Century 21 or Corcoran or any of these things, all right? These are questions that you need to be asking right now. I'm going to break them down for you. First of all, what will happen to your commission structure after the merger? You got to think about that. Ask yourself, is it going to stay the same? Is it going to change? Am I somehow going to be able to negotiate better? Right? I don't know. But you do have to think about that. What about your marketing autonomy? Will it shrink? Or will they say, hey, eventually you all need to be more uniform like we are? Who knows? Will new tech or admin's fees be introduced? That's a serious consideration, right? Hey, we use this technology at this company. We're doing away with this legacy technology that maybe you have for free or you've been paying for, and now it's going to be a pain in the butt to migrate all that data. Like, guys, these are real things, right? Like, you stayed at your brokerage long enough And a lot of times you probably stayed at your brokerage because you're like, well, I like who I'm with, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And also, it's too much of a hassle to switch brokerages. Well, here you go. You're in the middle of it now. Might as well pick the right one, right? Another question asked: will your local leadership actually stay intact, or will it get replaced, or outright just taken out? Will your listings and your leads go through new centralized systems? This is one of the craziest things I didn't even think about. Like, hey, are you attached to centralized systems that your leads go through, that your calls come in through? What will happen to that? All right. What about culture? What will happen to your culture, your team, your brand? What about the agents on your team if you're a team leader? What will happen to them? What will the splits look like? What can they not do that they could do before, and vice versa? And by the way, this might not all be bad, but you have to ask these questions. And here's the thing, I think it might be the most important. What happens if the promises made during the merger aren't actually kept? These are the red flags you got to watch for. So let's actually break some of those down. In my head, all right, it's really simple. Any pushback to rebrand your business under one national label, red flag for me based on this merger. All right. New costs that weren't there before. That's pretty obvious. Changes in lead flow or referral rules. What if you already have a referral platform that you're working with? Are they going to be cool with that? Who knows? Maybe somebody else already runs that in their brokerage, right? What if there's already a relocation person who really crushes it in your market at Compass, and you're the main relocation person at Coldwell Banker? What happens? Again, I don't know. Red flag if they start making you shift over. What about this? Corporate language replacing local leadership. Those are red flags you got to look out for. Here's what you have to do. This is my advice. What you can do right now, proactively. One, you got to audit your deal. Okay? You got to know your splits. You got to know your fees that you're in right now. Get clarity on your autonomy, what you control and what's controlled for you. You have to start building your personal brand outside of your brokerage. Detach from dependence on the brokerage. You don't need their color scheme. You don't need any of that. And not just your brand, like by your logo. I mean your actual brand. The identity should not be focused on what that brokerage is. And you got to talk to other agents. You have to explore your options. You can be quiet about it. You can be strategic about it. And I want to be clear, this merger isn't the end of real estate, but it is a fork in the road. Some agents are going to double down with these mega brokerages and hope the promises are kept. All right. And others, in my opinion, some of the more smart ones, in my opinion, they're going to pivot now before things get locked in and choose a place that puts agents first. And that place is LPT, no doubt about it. We're not perfect, sure. No brokerages. That's insane to think that. But we are built for what modern agents actually want. Speed, support, brand protection, fair economics, all right, a voice that actually matters, an exclusive luxury brand that only if you qualify for, you actually get to participate in. Not just like, hey, I dress really nice, so now I can join your luxury brokerage. These are different things. This is the Aperture brand inside of LPT Holdings, that is. All right, it's a sister company, I guess is what you would technically call it, but it has all the same benefits, same leadership, same technology, and a little bit of better stuff on the listing side and marketing side. Again, if you want to learn more about Aperture, if you're at like Sotheby's or something like that, make sure you reach out to me. It'll blow your mind. Okay. Again, if you're at Compass, you're at Coldwell, Sotheby's, Century, or any brand that's under that umbrella, now is the time to take a serious look at LPT. If you want a confidential conversation, I'm going to make myself available. You owe it to your business. You owe it to your brand. You owe it to your future to explore every option before someone else chooses it for you. Okay, I appreciate you being here. You have to stay bold, stay strategic, and I'll see you on the next one. And hey, before you go, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel and share it with somebody that absolutely needs to hear this. Have them clear their ears out. All right. If LPT is on your radar and you want someone who's active, strategic, and building every day in this space, you can name me as your sponsor. Flat out. That's what I'm doing a lot of this for. And just being transparent. And if you've already been talking to somebody about joining LPT, no problem. If you want to have them as a sponsor, you can actually add me as a co-sponsor so we can lock arms together. Either way, I'd love to be part of your journey. Drop a comment and reach out directly by going into the description below. Click that link, book one-on-one time with me. See you on the other side.